On this edition of City Talk, from the Mayor's office, meet Tiffini Simoneaux. From Parks and Recreation, Steve Rothhaar. And from the Department of Innovation and Performance, Kate Brownlee. City Talk starts right now. Welcome to a new edition of City Talk, where we try to figure out exactly what it is that people do around here all day. And by around here, I mean the city of Pittsburgh. As in employees of the city of Pittsburgh, meet one of them right now. Here is Tiffini Simoneaux of the Mayor's office. Tiffini, welcome to City Talk.
Oh, thanks so much, John. Glad to be here.
So your position didn't exist not too long ago, and you're the first one to occupy it.
I am, yeah.
Tell us about it and what you do.
Sure thing. So I've been in my position for about 3 years now. I'm the early childhood manager. So I work within the Mayor's office in the Office of Equity. And I really work around education and specifically early childhood education. My position's kind of interesting in that the mayor is a strong supporter of early childhood and universal pre-K, so he was very interested. And then we had a group of 4 city council members who had a women's caucus, and they wanted to really position someone within the mayor's office to focus on early childhood.
And you come from a background that is quite suitable.
Yeah, so I do not have a public policy background. I've never worked in on a campaign. I mean, I vote, but that's kind of the extent of my political involvement. But yeah, so my background, I was a preschool teacher. I was a out of school time teacher. I ran a summer camp, and then kind of moved up and became a director of a child care center in the North Side. So I was there for about 7 years before I came to the city.
Awesome. Do you think the public is generally aware, or genuinely aware for that matter, of how critically important it is to frame young minds and feed young minds during the ages of what? Starting when?
Yeah, so I would say, 0 to 5.
Okay.
So I work a lot with kids before they get into kindergarten. But yeah, so I think there is a lot of change in that realm. 80 to 90% of your brain is formed before the age of 5,
Wow.
with the majority of that happening between the ages of 0 to 3. So I think there has been a lot of awareness, especially through pediatricians and other kind of medical care folks, to kind of educate parents that young children, when they start to babble, they're not just making sounds. That's really the beginning of talking. And reading to your child and speaking to your child is really the beginning of kind of building that brain architecture that lasts with them throughout their lives.
But if you're still babbling as an adult, that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, maybe you didn't get early childhood education. So
there you go. So you can do many, many things. In other words, you're the point person if anybody has a question about what to do.
Sure.
You're a referral agency as well.
Yeah, so I take a lot of calls from early childhood facilities. So they could be home-based or community-based child care facilities. So a couple weeks ago, I had a call from a child care facility on the north side that had some groundhogs that were starting to infest their playground. And they wanted to know who they should call, so they were able to get in touch with animal control. So that's one of the things that I do. So I'm able to connect those providers to some of the city services. There's also been a change statewide. There was a tragic fire in Erie at a home-based child care facility, and so the state has changed some regulations around smoke alarms, fire detectors. So we've had some facilities call us to say, I don't know, can I have someone come out and check my facility because I want to make sure that we're safe. So being able to then connect them to the fire bureau has been something we've been doing also.
That's great. And you also work sometimes with the Pittsburgh Public Schools.
I do, yeah. So I have a great relationship with the Pittsburgh Public Schools Early Childhood Program. And they serve a huge number of children, over 3,000 children in their infant, toddler, and then especially their preschool program. So working closely with them, I sit on the Head Start Policy Board. So I sit with a group of other community representatives and parents that really look at the program there to make sure that it's supporting young children and their families to be successful.
I mentioned this to you that I have a friend who goes to schools and preaches an anti-bullying theme. Is bullying worse than it's ever been before due to, cyberbullying, frankly?
Yeah, so I think I think there's always been bullying.
Right.
I think that the fact that parents, administrators, teachers are paying more attention to that. But I think, we live in a different world. I know, I hated middle school. Middle school's hard for everybody. But when I went home from middle school, I didn't then have to deal with people texting me or responding to things on Facebook or Instagram. So I think it is a different world in that way. But yeah, there has been a definite emphasis on bullying and just making sure that kids feel comfortable at school and really feel supported to develop.
Is your office able to do anything to help with that effort?
Yeah, sure. So we do provide, we sit on a couple different groups that kind of look at like social emotional learning. Early childhood education really does a lot of that. So just making sure that kids feel comfortable to kind of communicate and be themselves. I think that's a big part. And I think also just teaching kids how to be kind and giving them the chance to kind of, communicate to each other and realize that we're all coming from different places and that we all should be nice to each other to really make sure everybody feels supported.
Where are you from originally?
So my family's from Carrick, so they are very Pittsburgh in that they all kind of live in the same area. So like my grandma, my aunt, great uncles. So if you drive up to where most of my family lives, you have to make sure you honk your horn at the top of the hill. Because if you bump into someone, it's going to be a relative. And I live in Stanton Heights now. So.
And where'd you go to school?
So I went to school at a small liberal arts college called Antioch, and that's in Yellow Springs, Ohio. And when I finished college, I moved back to Pittsburgh thinking I would stay for like a year. I'd had an internship in San Francisco and loved it, and came back just to save up some money, but really it's very easy to live in Pittsburgh. And I made
a lot cheaper than San Francisco.
Oh yeah. I made $9-10 an hour working as a preschool teacher, and I was able to buy a home. So I bought a house in Lawrenceville. I kind of lucked out and bought a nice $20,000 home.
Oh, you bought when the time was right.
Yeah, I did. I sure did. So now I sold that house, and now I have a driveway. So the Pittsburgh dream.
So what would you like to accomplish in the office going forward?
Sure. So one of the things that we've been focusing on, back in May, we opened the Dolly Parton Imagination Library Program, which is an international program that we've brought here to Pittsburgh due to some generous funding from a local foundation. But basically, we provide free books for children under the age of 5. We have about 2,400 kids that are enrolled now, so we're looking to get every child under the age of 5 that lives in the city limits signed up. They can just go to dollypartonimaginationlibrary.com, or they can just Google City of Pittsburgh Imagination Library. They go online, they can sign up. It takes about a minute. We also have paper forms, but once they sign up, they get their first book after about 2 months, and then ongoing, they get a book every month until their child turns 5.
So some kids still want to read books.
They do, yes. And the best part of the program is that it comes in the child's name. So the book comes in the mail, it's wrapped in cellophane, so you get it. It's a bright colored book. They're brand new hardback books or softback books for the older kids. But it comes in their name, so they get to kind of rip that open and say, oh, it's my book that comes this month. So that's one of the big things. We're also opening within the next couple months a quality fund for child care providers. So it's a $2 million fund that community-based child care facilities, home-based or centers, can apply, and maybe they want to redo their playgrounds, maybe they have to do some lead abatement or something like that. They can use the money for that, or they can also purchase materials like a curriculum, classroom materials, furniture, with the goal of having more high-quality early learning in the community.
You seem to actually like your job.
I do, yeah, I do. Well, I think when I ran the child care center, I knew that we served probably 125 children in our program, and I knew that, all the time there were ongoing budget concerns. So every time we had to look at the budget quarterly, we were trying to figure out how to make ends meet, and we were a very blessed facility in that we were started by a foundation, so we owned our building. We had a really beautiful building, great staff. We were a high quality facility, so we had all of those positive things going for us, but we still, struggled to make sure that we were, paying our staff decent wages, being able to keep up with the facility and that sort of thing. So being able to look at it from a systems level within my position is kind of a dream job. And so it's something I love. It's a little different than working with kids every day, but I like being able to make that positive impact.
Tiffini Simoneaux, congratulations on finding your dream job.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if all of us can say that or how many of us can say that. Thanks so much for being on City Talk.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Back in a moment with another scintillating city employee. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Maura Kennedy, Director of the Department of Permits, Licenses, and Inspections. We have many resources available to community members and business owners to learn more about PLI. One of them is a monthly newsletter to communicate changes occurring in our department. Just go to this website, and you can put in your name and email address. You can find all of our archived editions there as well. If you have any questions, please call us at 412-255-2175. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to City Talk from the Department of Parks and Recreation. Say hello to Steve Rothhaar. Steve, welcome to City Talk.
Thanks for having me.
So you are involved in a number of sports and organizing huge leagues around the city, but is your primary thing baseball?
Yes, baseball and softball through the summertime. April through July is definitely our biggest part.
And tell us how all-encompassing this is. How many leagues, how many players?
Last year we had about 60 teams, about 1,000 players.
Wow.
That we helped out. That's not including our junior ball, little T-ball teams, things like that we support more financially than with staffing.
But you are in effect the commissioner of baseball when it comes to city sports.
Yeah, correct.
Because sometimes there are disputes and you actually have to rule on them.
Yes, yeah. A number of occasions I have to interpret the rules. Everybody always has their own idea of what things mean, for sure.
There was a recent case involving the classic infield fly rule.
Infield fly rule came up last year. It was a matter of does the infield fly rule actually have to happen in the infield? It turns out it does not.
So if the ball's up,
and it should be caught.
you can't not catch it on purpose.
Correct.
In order to try to get outs in a sneaky way. Was everybody satisfied with your ruling that in fact it does not have to occur in the infield?
Well, it ended up being the umpire's call. I just had to calm everybody down, for sure.
Oh, so you had to back up the umpire's call.
Correct.
And inform them that yes, he made the correct call.
Correct.
Now you're forming an advisory committee so that you don't have so much heat on you, is that correct?
Yeah, we're trying to involve the participants in the league as much as possible. So if we can get them to participate in some meetings, in some rules interpretation meetings, and anytime there's a big conflict, we can kind of send that out and put a little bit more on them, because it is their league. You know, we're here to try to administer it and make sure everything gets done right and funded. But all in all, it's the people's league.
And you have a relationship with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
We do. We formed a much stronger partnership this past year. They gave a good deal of money to help fund the program, as well as lots of equipment.
Awesome. So what other sports are you involved with?
Through the winter, we do youth basketball, high school basketball, and futsal, which is indoor soccer. It's getting very, very big nowadays.
Oh, no kidding. That's on the increase?
It is. It's growing very rapidly.
I guess the difference between indoor and outdoor soccer is it's okay if you fall down outside, but not so much inside?
That's right. No sliding inside. You play the lines usually in a gymnasium. The goals are a bit smaller. And the ball you play with doesn't actually bounce. It stays on the ground a lot more. It's almost like it's flat.
Huh. This sounds like a great job. How did you get this job?
I've been working with City Parks for about 10 to 15 years, on and off. Went from part-time to full-time to center director, and now into this position. Where, growing through all that, I did parts of this already, and they just slotted me in.
Great. And when you say center director, you're talking about the rec centers?
Correct. Yeah, I ran a number of different community centers around town.
And these places have gymnasiums, and some have swimming pools, and
yeah, mostly we deal with weight rooms, gym floors, gym programming, things of that nature.
You think there are a lot of people who still don't know that the rec centers even exist? Because actually not too long ago I didn't know that.
I hope not.
Okay.
We try to get the word out there for everything going on, all of our programming. Again, all the programs that I'm involved in, I've seen grow the last few years.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up and raised and still live in Arlington.
And you have relatives there still too?
I do. My mother, my grandmother, both grandmothers, all still live in the neighborhood.
And you work out of the Arlington Rec Center, so it's quite a
The
Pittsburgh
Arlington
story.
Rec Center. Yeah, exactly. When they asked if I wanted to move over there, I was very happy to say yes. The building's about 10 blocks away from my house.
A lot of hills though in Arlington, right?
A lot of hills in Arlington.
Not a great place to be in the winter, maybe?
They do pretty good. Our Public Works Division, they take care of those hilly neighborhoods very well. Everybody's a little scared in the wintertime, but it gets done.
You sound like you really enjoy your job.
I do. I've always loved working with kids. I've always been better with kid problems than I was with adult problems.
But when it comes to disputes and people getting all intense occasionally, it's more the parents than the kids usually?
Yeah, usually you deal with mostly coaches. You try to keep it away from the parents. We kind of let the parents deal with the coaches, and then the coaches deal with us. But it's just having a good understanding of the rules and what's supposed to be done right, and then keeping a hard line of what's supposed to happen.
Right, so are people able to have fun most of the time, or are people getting so serious about sports as time goes on that...
Yeah, in my position, you tend to remember the bad stuff a lot more, but the good definitely outweighs the bad.
And people are still interested in playing baseball.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Absolutely. Our league has been growing. In the last 2 years, we've added a dozen or so teams.
Why do you think soccer is on the increase, including the indoor soccer that you're talking about?
Soccer's always been pretty big. I think
Okay.
the indoor thing, It used to be indoor soccer where you were playing balls off the walls and things like that. The balls just bouncing all over the place, and there wasn't a lot of control. This futsal, you have to be controlled. It builds your skills and really lends to going back outside onto the soccer field, and those skills kind of transfer.
You still playing any sports yourself?
I play a lot of volleyball. I coach. I play sand volleyball mostly. Legs are starting to fail me a little bit, but I'm going to play as long as I can.
But interest remains high in general in playing sports among the youth of the city of Pittsburgh and the immediate surrounding areas.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we try to keep the kids in the gym as much as possible and give them whatever they want to do.
Anything you'd like to accomplish going forward?
I just want to continue to grow. I'd love to get a larger, stronger volleyball community in the city. It's always been something, a passion of mine. If I can roll that into my job, then that would be fantastic.
Is that something older people are able to do more? I'm not suggesting there's not a lot of
They consider-
athleticism, because there is.
They consider volleyball a lifetime sport.
Okay, no kidding.
I've gone to tournaments where there's 60 and over leagues, 70 and over at nationals. It's pretty impressive.
Are there any other lifetime sports?
I'm not sure, but
Nothing comes to mind, you know what I mean? That's why I asked. Okay. Well, Steve Rothhaar, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of City Talk. Stay with us. We've got one more for you. Back in a minute.
Hi, my name is Lorena Townsend. I'm a paramedic for the city of Pittsburgh for 25 years now. I started out as a paramedic with the program through the city of Pittsburgh. They trained me while I worked for them. I became a paramedic because I wanted to help people. I've worked all over the city. I've worked Homewood to East End to West End. I like my job because I get to meet all kind of different people. I've met a guy who was a Tuskegee Airman on a call. I also have almost delivered babies. The smallest thing will change your life to become a paramedic in the city of Pittsburgh. Come join us.
Welcome back. Here's our third and final guest for this particular edition of City Talk. Say hello to, from the Department of Innovation and Performance, Kate Brownlee. Kate, welcome to City Talk.
Thank you for having me, John.
So you've been with the city for all of a few weeks.
Yes, this is my start of my 4th week on the job.
Have you ever worked in government before?
I have not.
How do you like it so far?
It's wonderful. Everyone I have met has been incredibly friendly and very enthusiastic about how to make the city work better for its citizens.
Are you surprised at the level of enthusiasm and just that people actually work hard in the city, as opposed to the stereotype?
Yeah, so I didn't know what to expect really coming in. I've worked in different capacities. I was a teacher for 10 years and I worked for UPMC for 12 years. So I didn't really know what to expect. City workers don't always have the best reputation, but everyone I have worked with universally so far has been fabulous.
And you are a performance coach.
Yes, I'm a performance improvement coach.
So in terms of the interview, how am I doing so far?
You're doing fantastically. There's nothing you can improve about your performance.
I would disagree. I think I should have said you were a performance coach right up front instead of delaying it. But it's casual.
That's okay.
It's very casual. Thank you. If you're the coach, I guess if you say it's okay, then it's okay. So what actually does that entail?
So we work with folks throughout the city to try to help them look at their processes and think about how they can improve them. So sometimes processes don't work as smoothly or as quickly as citizens would like. And so we're working with the data team to try to help people understand how they're doing, and then we coach them on thinking through how they could do things a little better.
So you analyze what they do and then have them think more about the process of what they do, and then maybe suggest ways that perhaps improvements could be made.
Yeah, so we are not subject matter experts. We are not experts in filling potholes or cleaning streets, but we are experts in thinking through how to improve the process itself and helping the people who are the frontline experts ask different questions about how they do their work.
I know, for example, you worked with somebody in the Forestry Service, and people are now sending in videos of trees they want removed instead of the forest people for the city having to go out and conduct an initial investigation. It saves them a step and a lot of time.
Yes, exactly. So they got permitting for if you want a tree removed down from, I think, 2 days to about 20 minutes.
That's big.
Yeah, it's a lot of savings on the part of the resident and also the city workers. And so they can work on getting other stuff done. It saves the inspectors from having to go out and make a physical trip to the tree. And so we're really providing people with tools to sort of ask better questions about how they do their work.
But you're not an efficiency expert who just sort of drops in and starts making suggestions. There's a seminar that people go through first. It's called the Gold Belt Program.
Yeah, so we have a 4.5-hour Gold Belt class that teaches people principles of process improvement, but also some really simple tools that they can use to tackle their work. But the ideas for improvement are really coming from them. They're not coming from us. We're just giving them.
You help them analyze what they do, and they, in turn, might recommend some ways that,
Yeah.
that they can do it better.
Exactly.
How's that going so far?
So far, so good. We've had several, since I've been here, we've taught a Gold Belt class. We have some more coming up in the coming months that you can register for online.
All city workers are eligible?
Yes.
From any department?
From any department, any level of the organization, and the classes are free. You should get your supervisor's approval before you sign up, but the classes are free. And we've had several sessions afterwards, coaching sessions after the class with people to help them start to think through how they can apply the lessons of the class to their real world.
Well, hopefully taxpayers in general will be glad that some people in the city are literally just focusing on how to do things better and more efficiently.
That I certainly hope so.
Yeah, it sounds good, and I think that it is. Where are you from originally?
I'm a Pittsburgh native, so I grew up in Point Breeze and left to go to college and lived in Philly for about 10 years. But after I had children, realized that living near my parents was more appealing than when I was 18. Mm-hmm. And in typical Pittsburgh fashion, I came back and I now live about 25 feet away from my parents.
It is a law that you have to come back to the city eventually and live near your
Yes.
parents, is it not?
Yeah, I did move from Point Breeze to Squirrel Hill, so I moved one neighborhood over.
Stepping out.
Yeah.
Not your typical Yinzer.
Yeah.
How did you manage to avoid the Yinzer accent? I don't hear a trace of it.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I talked to someone from the mayor's office, and she's from here also, and she also didn't have it. So,
Yeah, my parents don't. My dad is he grew up in Mount Lebanon, so
Okay.
so we're multi-generational Pittsburgh family, and none of us have the Pittsburgh accent.
interesting. Where'd you go to school?
I went to Lyndon Starrett, and then I'm a proud Taylor Alderdice graduate.
Oh, congratulations, belatedly. So finally, would you recommend a career in city government from your several week-long career perspective?
So far, so good. I would recommend a career in city government. The people are very welcoming and very committed to helping improve the city in which we work.
Kate Brownlee, thanks so much for doing City Talk.
No problem.
Very
Thanks
nice
for having
to
me.
see you. We'll be back with another episode in the near future. Have a great day.